Downside framing in English. State risks clearly, not fearfully. Let's talk about downside framing. How to describe risks clearly without sounding alarmist. The goal is to make risks concrete, not vague. Instead of, things could go wrong, say, a 2-week delay in procurement could push launch by 1 sprint. This protects your credibility with balanced language. Name the risk and the upside you'll still pursue. And remember, your job is to guide decisions, not spread fear. Balanced risk language helps leaders prioritize, allocate resources, and act calmly. Clear downside framing earns trust, speeds decisions, and makes you the teammate people rely on when stakes are high. Use a simple sequence for clarity. First, state the thesis briefly. We can launch in Q2 with current resources. Then name the specific risk driver. However, vendor onboarding delays and a single point dependency on QA capacity. Finally, quantify or qualify the impact. This could extend timelines by 2 to 3 weeks and increase rework by 10 to 15%. Keeping this claim right pointing arrow. Risk right pointing arrow. Impact flow ensures everyone sees what you believe, what could derail it, and what the consequence looks like in time, cost, or quality. One crisp chain beats long paragraphs every time. Choose verbs that signal measured caution. Use may or could for possibility, not certainty. A price hike could reduce trial signups. Prefer expose, erode, constrain over vague, be bad. For example, limited telemetry constrains diagnosis, or a rushed rollout erodes customer trust. Always pair verbs with mechanisms. The how or why. Reduced test coverage exposes us to regression because critical paths aren't exercised. Mechanisms convert worry into understanding and help teams design targeted fixes instead of hand-waving. Be careful with uncertainty. Use calibrated hedges like quotes, likely, plausible, credible, non-trivial, which signal thought, not fear. Avoid vague fillers like sort of, maybe, kinda, which erode confidence. When possible, add confidence levels or ranges. It's likely 60 to 70% will see a throughput dip during week 1, or a plausible downside is a 5 to 8% churn uptick. Calibrated language shows you've assessed probability and impact. You're not diluting the message, you're sizing it so leaders can act with the right level of urgency. Use numbers to clarify, not to shock. Provide ranges and baselines. Conversion may drop 2 to 4% versus last quarter's 18%. Anchor time horizons, so urgency is clear. Near term, 0 to 3 months. Midterm, 3 to 12. Long term, 12 plus. And note assumptions and data limits. Range assumes stable traffic. Sample size small, so variance is high. These habits prevent overreaction and help stakeholders compare scenarios fairly. Numbers with context let you adjust plans, pace hiring, phase features, or increase testing without spiraling into panic. It's okay to say no. Just pair it with choices. First, flag the downside, then propose mitigations. Current scope risks a brittle release. We can add a hardening sprint. Offer trade-offs. Cost, speed, quality. Ship in Q2 with fewer features, or Q3 with higher reliability. Use if-then language to map choices. If we keep scope, then we add 2 weeks for testing. If we cut scope, then we meet Q2 but accept lower depth. Options turn a block into a plan and invite leadership to choose consciously. Steal these lines to stay clear and respectful. The primary risk is focus his attention on what matters most. Our downside case assumes, signals your scenario thinking and the assumptions behind it. If X persists, we expect Y within Z pins risk to a mechanism, an outcome, and a time frame. If attrition persists, we expect onboarding lag within 2 quarters. Short, direct phrases reduce debate over wording and shift discussion to decisions. Use them in emails, decks, and stand-ups to set a calm, professional tone. Here's a quick pattern. Context, right, pointing arrow. Risk, right, pointing arrow. Evidence, right, pointing arrow. Impact, right, pointing arrow. Mitigation. Example, given limited QA bandwidth, risk late defects could escape. Evidence, backlog of 23 critical tests. Impact, 2 to 3 week slip and 10 to 15% rework. Mitigation, add a hardening sprint or reduce scope. Keep sentences short, 1 idea per line. This structure scales from emails to board updates and makes your thinking audit-ready. When teams see risk, mechanism, and options in one view, decisions happen faster and with less drama.